Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. 我是 Red, and today we are fixing one of the most persistent, stubborn habits that English speakers bring into Chinese. Have you ever said something like this? 我去北京昨天 and your Chinese friend gave you that confused head tilt. But then you think, wait, in English, I went to Beijing yesterday is totally fine. Yesterday is at the end. So why can't I do that in Chinese? Here is the kicker. 我昨天去北京。我昨天去北京。This is correct. Flawless. Native approved. But 我去北京昨天. This is wrong. Like really wrong. So what's the rule? Why does Chinese force us to put time right after the subject instead of at the end? And wait, if that's the rule,And then why is 我去了北京3天 I went to Beijing for 3 days. Perfectly correct with the time at the end. Now we're getting into the juicy stuff. Today, we're not just learning a rule, we're going to crack the logic behind Chinese word order. By the end of this video, you will never mess up time phrases again. And before we break this down, if you love this deep dives into Chinese grammar and want to help me keep making them, I have a Ko-fi page where you can support the channel. It truly means the world. Link is down below. Alright, let's fix this time confusion once and for all. Here's the number one rule for telling when something happens in Chinese. Time phrases must come before the verb. Always, no exceptions. In English, we are flexible. Yesterday, I went to Beijing. Time first. I went to Beijing yesterday. Time last. Both are fine. English is a head final and head initial hybrid. It's flexible. Chinese, not so much. Chinese is a time, place, event language. You set the background, when and where, first.And then you tell us what happened. So the correct structure is subject plus time plus verb plus object. Let's look at our example. 我昨天去北京。我昨天去北京。I yesterday go Beijing. I went to Beijing yesterday. See the order. Subject 我 then time 昨天 then verb 去 then object 北京. Let's try more examples.他每天早上跑步。He every morning run. He runs every morning. 我们晚上7点吃饭。We evening 7 o'clock eat. We eat dinner at 7 p.m. 他下个月去上海。She next month go 上海. She's going to Shanghai next month.Notice a pattern. The time is always grouped right before the verb. It's like the verb is a magnet and the time has to stick right in front of it. So, if you have a sentence like 我去北京昨天, you've put the time after the verb. In Chinese, that sounds like I go Beijing yesterday. It violates the fundamental DNA of the language.Native speakers will understand you, but it will always sound like foreigners' Chinese. Now, some of you might be thinking, but I've heard Chinese people put time at the beginning, like 昨天我去北京. And you are absolutely right. 昨天我去北京. Yesterday, I go Beijing. Yesterday, I went to Beijing. This is 100% correct. So what's the difference between 我昨天去北京 time after subject and 昨天我去北京 time before subject? Here's the nuance. 我昨天去北京 is neutral. You are just stating a fact. The subject I is the topic. 昨天我去北京 puts emphasis on the time. You are saying, as for yesterday, unlike today, or unlike tomorrow, I went to Beijing. Both are grammatically perfect.But notice a key rule. In both sentences, the time is still before the verb 去. Whether it's at the very front of the sentence or right up to the subject, it must come before the action. The only thing you cannot do is put it after the verb. So the rule actually is time when before verb position. It must be earlier than the verb, full stop. Now, here's where 90% of intermediate learners get confused. Because I just told you time must be before the verb. But what about this sentence? 我去了北京3天. I went to Beijing for 3 days. Wait a minute. 3天 is time and is at the end of the sentence. Didn't I just say time has to be before the verb? Here's the crucial distinction that changes everything. 昨天, a time point, a specific moment in time. 3天, a time duration, how long an action lasts. Chinese treats these two types of time completely differently. Rule 1, time point must go before the verb. Rule 2, time duration must go after the verb and often after the object. Let's break this down. Time point, when. This answers the question, when did it happen? Examples. 昨天, yesterday. 现在, now. 3点, 3 o'clock. 下个月, next month. 2020年, year 2020. Position, before the verb. 我昨天去北京, right. 我去北京昨天, wrong, because yesterday is a point. It can't go after the verb. And time duration, how long? This answers the question, how long did it take or last? Examples. 3天, 3 days. 2个小时, 2 hours. 10分钟, 10 minutes. 1年, 1 year. Position, after the verb, and usually after the object. 我去了北京3天. I went to Beijing for 3 days. 我学了中文2年. I studied Chinese for 2 years. 他睡了8个小时. He slept for 8 hours. So let's go back to the mistake in the title. 我去北京昨天, wrong, because 昨天 is a time point and it's shoved after the verb. 我去了北京3天, correct, because 3天 is a time duration which belongs after the verb. Now, what if you want to say both the point and the duration in one sentence? Then you put the time point first and the time duration last. 我去年去了北京3天. Last year, I went to Beijing for 3 days. See that? 去年, last year, before the verb. 3天 duration after the object. Perfect order. You might be thinking, this is so different from English. Why is Chinese so strict about this? It comes down to how Chinese organizes information. Chinese follows a principle called chronological order or the natural sequence. In Chinese thought, you set the stage first before you talk about the performance. The stage equals time, place, circumstance. Performance equals action, verb. If you put the time point after the verb, you're telling me the action before telling me when it happened. In Chinese, that feels backwards. It's like saying, I ate dinner. Oh, wait, yesterday. It sounds like an afterthought. So native speakers are used to hearing the when up front so they can mentally prepare for the what. This is also why location phrases, the place, work the same way. Like, 我在北京学习. I in Beijing study. I study in Beijing. Place goes before the action. I study in Beijing. The place Beijing comes before the verb 学习. So remember this golden mantra. Time point plus place plus action. Big background first. Small action last. Now let's look at the mistakes my students make every single week and exactly how to fix them. Mistake 1. Translating English word for word. English. I went to the gym yesterday. Wrong sentence. Direct translation. 我去健身房昨天. No. Correct one. 我昨天去健身房. fix. When you hear yesterday, today, tomorrow, this morning in your head, force yourself to say it right after the subject. Mistake 2. Confusing point and duration. English. I worked for 2 hours. Wrong sentence. 我2个小时工作. This sounds like I 2 hours work, missing the duration structure. Correct one. 我工作了2个小时. Fix. Duration equals after the verb. Remember, if it answers how long, put it at the end. Mistake 3. Putting the time point before the subject without changing the emphasis. Sometimes learners get scared and always put time after the subject. That's fine, but you should know that putting it at the very front is totally natural too. 我明天去学校 natural. 明天我去学校 emphasizes tomorrow as opposite to today. So both are correct. Use both to sound more native. Alright, let's log this in. If you need, please feel free to take a screenshot. The ultimate rule, if it's a specific moment, when, put it before the action. If it's a length of time, how long, put it after the action. If you have both, point, verb, duration. So next time you go to say, I did something yesterday, stop for half a second. Put that 昨天 right before the verb. Don't drop it at the end like you would in English. Alright, that's all for today. Let me leave you with this. Chinese word order isn't random. It's logical. It's about setting the stage before the action. Time point goes first. Action follows. And if there's a duration, it tags along at the end. Stop translating from English and start thinking in Chinese structure. Okay, if this video cleared up your confusion, please hit that like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss my next deep dive. And please remember, if you find this valuable and want to support the work I do here, my coffee link is in the description. Every coffee means a word. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. 再见。